Military Academy. The President is now trooping the line here of the Honor Guard contingent composed of Philippine Military Academy cadets giving the arrival honors for the Chief Executive in today's kickoff activity for the 59th anniversary celebration of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Today's theme, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, kaagapay sa kapayapaan at kaunlaran patungong Pilipinas 2000. Shortly after the locally based were undertaken, professionalization and value formation seminars as well as internal programs were conducted for this purpose.
Ginoo, handa na po ang patikas upang libutin.
And we can say that none of the internal threat groups is in a position to challenge the government's ability to blunt any attempt to jeopardize stability. Armed Forces campaign plans has led to irreversible decline in the regular strength of the communist insurgents, continued reduction of insurgency-affected barangays, and the dwindling number of high-powered firearms in the hands of the insurgents. Vigorous internal reforms instituted by the AFP leaderships aimed at professionalism has silenced the ultra-rightist group. The overall capability of the separatist elements has been likewise reduced as a result of the government's implementation of the National Reconciliation and Development Program, which makes possible the peaceful return of the rebels to the folds of the law.
Now, the Armed Forces leadership has embarked on a program designed to sustain the momentum aimed at modernizing and professionalizing the armed forces, as well as activities aimed at nation building, as stated by this year's theme of celebration, Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas, kaagapay sa kapayapaan at kaunlaran, tungo sa Pilipinas 2000. It is our hope that this strong determination will eventually demonstrate the military leadership's capability to modernize amidst this economic difficulty that we in the armed forces will now try to combat. We will continually master our resources together in the fulfillment of our constitutional role and obligation of national defense, security, and nation building, and maintain the AFP's enduring nobility, honor, and integrity for the greater benefits of the country and its people.
These men and women of the armed forces have given their solemn commitment to protect with their very lives the foundation of our democratic institutions, which flourish today throughout the length and breadth of the archipelago. The sterling accomplishment of the AFP during the past 59 years are indeed proof of this commitment to democracy. They are the consequence of a more professionalized and effective organization, whose ranks are filled with well-trained and committed officers and men who uphold the Constitution, respect the rule of law, support the duly constituted government, and abide by the AFP chain of command.
Under the present leadership of the Chief of Staff, General Arturo Chongson Enrile, giant steps are being taken on professionalism, modernization, and nation building. Moves toward these ends are clearly directed and made transparent, inspired even further by the Commander-in-Chief, who is himself a soldier. The Armed Forces of the Philippines in today's affair stand squarely and in full force behind His Excellency Fidel V. Ramos in his pursuit of a noble goal of progress and self-sufficiency through the vision of the Philippines 2000. May we request the Commander-in-Chief to please present the awards and for the Chief of Staff to please assist in the awarding. Pursuant to the provisions of Armed Forces Regulations G131-053 dated 1 July 1986, the Medal for Valor is awarded to Captain Custodio S. Parcon Jr., Oras 9702 Philippine Navy Marines, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of life above and beyond the call of duty while engaged in a series of encounters against heavily armed Muslims kidnappers at Barangay Kapayawan, Isabela, Basilan from 7 May to 15 May 1993 as the commanding officer, 61st Marine Reconnaissance Company, tasked to infiltrate the Abu Sayyaf camp, Al-Madina, and rescue kidnapped victim Anthony Biel III. He planned and personally led these men to embark on a hazardous mission, pitting them against extremely fanatic and suicidal armed elements.
The Distinguished Conduct Star is awarded to First Lieutenant Kurt A. Di Capia, ODAS 10414 Philippine Army, for conspicuous courage and gallantry in action during an encounter with 30 heavily armed terrorists at Barangay Pokin, Corner, Kalingya, Apayao on 29 August 1994. As company commander of the 17th Infantry Battalion, First Lieutenant Di Capia led his men in closing in on a well-fortified enemy barricade, which led to the seizure of the enemy's entrenchment. After 2 hours of gun battle, the troops recovered an arms cache consisting of assorted firearms.
The third Bronze Anaho Leaf to the Distinguished Service Star is hereby awarded to Captain Heriberto C. Varona, Oras 5102 Philippine Navy, Masters of National Security Administration, for eminently meritorious and valuable service rendered in a position of major responsibility as Officer in Charge, Naval District 6, from 18 April 1994 to 25 August 1994, and Deputy Commander, Naval District 6, from 4 April to 25 August 1994. He directed maritime and naval operations that led to the apprehension of 32 watercrafts loaded with smuggled goods and illegal logs valued at 113 million pesos, resulting in the payment of about 10 million pesos in customs duties to the government.
The third bronze Adaho Leaf to the Distinguished Service Star is awarded to Colonel Benjamin N. Lebarnes, O-5297, Philippine Army, Masters in National Security Administration, for eminently and meritorious and valuable service rendered in a position of major responsibility as Commander, Armed Forces of the Philippines Counterintelligence Group from 1 January 90 to 19 November 94. His unit successfully executed intelligence activities against the ultra-rightist group, resulting in the neutralization of 68 military rebels and the surrender of 127 others.
The Distinguished Service Star is awarded to Colonel Claudio P. Estalilla, ODAS 5779, Philippine Air Force, General Staff Corps, for eminently meritorious and valuable service rendered in a position of major responsibility as Commander, Composite Air Support Force 2, 1st Air Division, Philippine Air Force, from 9 November 92 to 17 April 94. Colonel Estalilla instituted plans, policies, and procedures at CASAF-2 to bolster its role as the primary air support component of the AFP in support to the operating units of the 5th Infantry Division, Northern Luzon Command, and the Philippine National Police, which resulted in 257 enemies killed, 88 others wounded, 123 captured, and well-fortified enemy bunkers destroyed.
The Kagitingan sa Barangay is awarded to KAFGU Active Auxiliary Danilo Ladiao for being adjudged as the KAFGU of the Year for his outstanding performance of duties as member of the 17th Eastern Summer KAFGU Active Auxiliary Company, 52nd Infantry Battalion, 8th Infantry Division, Philippine Army. He was instrumental in the capture of Rafael Capones, also known as Sponso Glenn, with a 50,000 peso reward on his head, and the capture of 4 terrorists and the recovery of firearms and subversive documents.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines Enlisted Man of the Year badge is awarded to Photographer First Class Bayani C. Rivadulla, 636969, Philippine Navy, assigned at the Bonifacio Naval Station for being adjudged the AFP Enlisted Man of the Year.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines Enlisted Woman of the Year badge is awarded to Sergeant Maria Teresa Armalibiran, 759525, Women's Auxiliary Corps, Philippine Air Force, assigned with the 205th Tactical Operation Wing for being adjudged Enlisted Woman of the Year 1994.
The Presidential Streamer is awarded to the 17th Infantry Battalion, 5th Infantry Division, Philippine Army, for conspicuous courage and gallantry of its officers and men in combat operations in support of the counterinsurgency campaign of the national government for 1994. The battalion launched 21 tactical engagements, resulting in 26 enemies killed, 16 others wounded, and 67 high-powered firearms recovered without suffering any casualty or firearms lost on its part. The streamer will be received by its unit commander, Major Emmanuel Caiton, Philippine Army Infantry.
By authority of the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the plaque of appreciation is awarded to the following non-government organizations for their invaluable services to the Armed Forces of the Philippines in the pursuit of socio-economic and non-combat activities. The Association for Non-Traditional Education in the Philippines, the plaque will be received by Mrs. Lourdes D. Jereza. The Konfederasyon ng mga Nobo Ecijano para sa Kalikasan. The plaque will be received by Reverend Father Apollo de Guzman.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with deepest respect and highest esteem that I introduce to you the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Fidel V. Ramos.
I am happy to celebrate with all of you today the 59th anniversary of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and to be again reunited with the gallant men and women who for so long had been my official family. I treasure the years that we spent together to make this organization what it is today. And those years taught me that the soldier, though humbly regarded in our society, in service and dedication, occupies an exalted place in our history and future. Those years taught me that the soldier, though humbly regarded in our society, in service and dedication, occupies an exalted place in our history and future. Today, as you mark another milestone, I am delighted to note that the present Corps of AFP professionals have sustained the quest that my generation of soldiers and those before me pursued, a better nation where our people can live in peace and prosperity. At this juncture, I also greet my fellow veterans out there ating mga kasama na kahit na mahihina na ang mga tuhod, malalakas pa rin ang loob. I therefore extend to each and every officer, enlisted personnel, and civilian employee of the armed forces my sincerest commendations and best wishes on this proud occasion. As we look upon our ranks and see today an AFP that has continuously kept faith with its mission and its noble traditions, an AFP that has maintained its vitality and strength as the defense force of our country, and an AFP that is deeply united with our people, we can proudly celebrate this anniversary. Indeed, the AFP's achievements highlight its relevance and importance in our national community, not only in waging war against the threats to our security, but also in waging war against poverty and those other factors that restrain our growth as one progressive and stable nation. The AFP has been crucial in upholding our ideals of peace and security within our country and played a critical role in the preservation of peace in the regional and global community as well. The continuing security relationships that we have with other countries manifest the AFP's continuing commitment to participate in and contribute to mutual defense efforts that help sustain a united community of nations. We have concretely demonstrated our commitment to world peace by having our soldiers and policemen even participate in peacekeeping efforts in troubled parts of the globe. Over the years, we have seen a military organization successful in its defense mission and in its tasks to help ensure progress and development, making its presence felt in the countryside. This year, the Security and Peace and Order campaign has again yielded results that clearly spells out that we are closing the final chapters of our more than 20 years of struggle against insurgency. Very significant is the marked reduction in the number of dissident-affected barangays. From some 1,000 affected barangays in 1993, there are now only 700, or a mere 1.7% of the total number of more than 42,000 barangays nationwide. The end of the Cold War and the transformation leading to greater democracy, and which have made communist political systems turn to market economies, have drastically diminished the appeal of Marxist, Leninist, Maoist ideology among our countrymen. Conversely, the chances of our winning the battle for hearts and minds, especially with our breakthroughs in our modernization efforts, have greatly increased. Our efforts at reconciliation, highlighted by the 2 amnesty proclamations that we have issued and various livelihood assistance programs for returnees, have resulted in thousands of our disaffected countrymen crossing over and rejoining their families in the productive mainstream. Alongside these promising prospects for peace are our continuing initiatives to bring all rebel groups of various persuasions to the negotiating table in line with our policy to resolve national and internal security issues through peaceful means. On the whole, the peace process gives us the assurance that the settlement of issues critical to national interest will be achieved in good time with a minimum of bloodshed and military force. And as a further confidence-building measure, let me reiterate today, ladies and gentlemen, that we shall firmly stand by the 24-day unilateral suspension of offensive military operations, or SOMO, countrywide, that we declared in celebration of the Christmas and the New Year season. This move further demonstrates government sincerity in pushing forward the peace process with some rebel forces. We certainly know that this is greatly appreciated by our countrymen who wish for nothing better than a peaceful Christmas and a bright, prosperous New Year. I therefore call upon our men in uniform to observe this respite and give more substance to our sincere desire to attain meaningful and lasting peace. Today, in the post-Cold War environment, the battleground has shifted to the economic arena. Nations are now intensively competing in the race for human skills, natural resources, and high technology in order to gain advantage in the global market. Philippines 2000 is our dynamic response to this challenge. We are implementing a comprehensive program of social, political, and economic reforms to spur the growth and productivity that will place our beloved Philippines shoulder to shoulder with the tigers in our region of Asia and the Pacific. In this historic journey, the AFP's role is of utmost importance, not only as a prime instrument to protect our national integrity and sovereignty, but also as a contributing force to national development. And for our armed forces to respond positively to this environment of change, dynamism, and progress, it is imperative for us to modernize our force capabilities in terms of weapons and equipage, and in the equally important aspects of organization, particularly values training and the professionalization of all troops and units. To enhance our operational preparedness and flexibility, to keep pace with national security and national development requirements, we have to modernize. We also need to modernize the armed forces in keeping with our commitment to help maintain regional peace, security, and cooperation in the ASEAN family of nations. Along this line, I am happy to note that the House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker De Venecia, Chairman Yap, and Vice Chairman Ermita, let's give them a big hand again, has finally approved the AFP Modernization Bill, which embodies our response to new challenges and opportunities. This is indeed a most welcome development in our efforts to strengthen our military forces. I have been also informed that the leaders of the Senate, Senate President Edgardo Angara, Chairman Senator Mercado, and Vice Chairman Biason, palakpakan po uli natin sila, will likewise respond to this urgent need and also will pass the AFP modernization measure during this current session before the elections in May 1995.